You know, since I've been in office, we've been carrying out my economic vision. All right. We carried out my economic vision to move.
Yes, now millions of people are eligible to claim an extra round of stimulus payments. This is due to President Biden's legislative agenda that could be approved in the coming days. Everybody get ready because President Biden might be ready to send out more stimulus payments. So here's some big news. It's that President Biden has said that Congress is very close to finally reaching a deal on the Build Back Better legislation. Joe Biden has continued to tout his entire Build Back Better package as he travels across the nation. And the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which is a group made of lawmakers in Congress, is now pressuring President Biden and the Senate Democrats to pass his signature very, very soon. And Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, who chairs the caucus, said in a statement that the spending package has only become more urgent, and negotiations of the bill have stalled, but Jayapal told reporters, public housing. Residents have endured devastating fires, and the cost of insulin and other prescription continue to crush working people. We only see the need for more stimulus payments increase, folks, and that's the fact. But soaring inflation has become a political problem for President Biden, with Republicans pointing to the rise in prices as a reason why it's the wrong time for Congress to authorize some $1.75 trillion in new spending. And the Republicans argue that injecting more federal money into the economy will add fuel to the fire, while the White House and some Democrats say that the bill will only reduce the cost of living for many low-income families and ease inflation over the long run. Senator Manchin has also joined Republicans on this. But friends, inflation is, and always been a central component of Manchin's resistance to the broader package of a stimulus. And no number of letters from economists has even stopped him from that, and should start decelerating in the months ahead. According to White House officials, it is possible for lawmakers from both parties to come to an agreement on social spending programs. Biden even said, "I'm confident we can get the Build Back Better bill into law." And now, everybody, here's the breaking news about the fourth stimulus check of $1,400. Republicans and Democrats have fought hard over the issue of stimulus checks after passing the first one. But some Americans will be able to claim additional money when they file their taxes, and they could be eligible for the full $1,400 payment. One way people could be eligible for a full $1,400 is if they had a child in 2021. Now, I know many of you are wondering how this is possible. Well, it's because of the 2021 Economic Impact Payment. And that was based on a person's 2020 or 2019 return, so any eligible dependent that came to the family last year would not have been included in the payment amount. And those who have a child who qualifies for the recovery credit then know this: you can claim the dependent when they file the 2021 tax return this year. Unlike the first two rounds of payments, which limited dependent eligibility to just children, the third stimulus check made accommodations for dependents of all ages. So a person who adds a parent or grandparent or another eligible dependent to their household could be eligible for a $1,400 payment, folks. Just remember that. And if a person didn't add a dependent to their family in 2021, then they may be able to claim some money via the recovery credit on their 2021 tax return. Anyone who thinks they may be eligible for more money than they received should pay close attention when filing the taxes this year, as it will be the last chance to receive the funds. I believe that President Biden must do something about the stimulus checks, and he should do a better job in sending them out. And if you guys agree with me, then tell me in the comments down below and say I agree.
The esteemed Majority Leader of this House, Steny Hoyer.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the chairman. I want to thank the chairman not only for yielding time, but much, much more importantly, I want to thank him for the extraordinary work he does on behalf of the armed forces and for its veterans. He is tireless in his advocacy of veterans' interests. At every meeting that we have, I meet with him every Wednesday in the chairman's meeting, always speaking up about how we need to continue our focus on the needs of our veterans who served our country so heroically, whether they went overseas or not. And some of the veterans that we're talking about today were not overseas when they contracted a disease or an illness as a result of toxic substances. They were here in America. There's
He raised a ton of news about the fourth stimulus payments, social security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on this. The majority of Americans strongly support the federal government doing something for a fourth stimulus check, and there's three factors that we're going to go over in today's video. First of all, is whether Democrats and Republicans are going to find a way to get a bipartisan deal done on stimulus funds and for families. Republicans have not even been on board for another direct payment issue to most eligible adults, but a number of Republicans are in favor of expanding this child tax credit. And this has been a key priority for Democrats as well. Although there is a disagreement about how such a tax credit should be structured, it's possible from lawmakers both sides of the aisle that they will come together to find a compromise that will control Congress to split. So the Colorado Senator has even asked one of the leading efforts in the Senate. He told CNN that Republican leaders decided to send a lump of coal to America's children last year, and we know that the most significant step Congress can take to help America's children is to support an expanded child tax credit. So when Congress took action on this in 2021, we cut child poverty in half in 2020. And so, as of right now, things will go back to the way they were before the American Rescue Plan, unless somebody does something for these stimulus payments. Because now the IRS said it recently finished correcting tax returns for 2020, which included overpayments for unemployment benefits that worked and received last year. And this means that it issued already 12 million tax refunds as a result. So the average tax refund is around $1,200, with the agency sending a total of $15 billion to taxpayers. So it may not seem like a lot, but it is. And so what we mean by this is that the average tax refund is around $1,200, everybody. $1,232. So with the agency sending a total of $15 billion back to taxpayers, well, the IRS has said that taxpayers were sent letters from the IRS to inform them about fixes to their 2020 tax filings. So now the tax review came about during the American Rescue Plan. Yes, during the American Rescue Plan, about 14 million tax returns were collected and corrected, but the IRS issued 12 million refunds for those filings. That added, individuals and married couples whose adjusted gross income was below 150 grand were also eligible to have some unemployment aid untaxed. And according to the IRS, taxpayers were eligible for the exclusion, and who haven't got a correction from the IRS may need to file an amended 2020 tax return to claim any refund. During his speech, McConnell said, "We all know inflation and the economy are the biggest problems facing Americans today. We are a big and a diverse country. 93% of Americans hardly ever agree on anything, but Democrats are unifying the country in unhappiness, at a dark path down which have taken our economy." McConnell once again blamed inflation on Congress, saying that last year, without a single Republican vote, the stimulus checks passed. McConnell warned that a budget reconciliation package under negotiation is going to put more pressure on the economy, citing more than $200 billion in tax increases. The package would include to extend the solvency of Medicare. McConnell told reporters business owners are watching apprehensively as Democrats debate another dose of bad policies. Now, you can expect a big stimulus check soon. Democrats and Republicans have officially signed into law legislation that is going to provide new stimulus checks to millions of low-income households with up to $1,000 in financial aid. Last year, the enhanced child tax credit provided millions of parents in the U.S. with financial relief. The last expanded child tax credit payment was dispersed in December, but the pause led to the increase in the number of children in poverty from 12.1% to 17%, also putting 3.7 million children below the poverty line. And now with inflation on the rise, plus a possible recession looming, several states and lawmakers are planning to send families with more money starting this year. 12 states are granting additional child tax credit to low-income families. Many families in need of extra money due to the cost of inflation